Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World Championship Series Europe Premier League Grand Finals weekend. Now, a little earlier on in the show, we said to you guys out on the internet that you could take part in our Cheerful competition by sending in your virtual Cheerfuls. That's still going on, and it'll carry on all the way through the Grand Final, so keep them coming. Make sure you're using the hashtag #WCS. But the winner here in the studio has been decided, and it is this gentleman. Do you want to come up and join me? Where are you? Okay, what is your name?
Björn.
Björn. Where have you come from?
Germany, actually, Hamburg. Hamburg, actually.
From Hamburg, okay. Joe Miller will be very happy to hear that. Well done, Björn. Show us your... Show the camera.
Yeah, actually, I have those.
There we go.
I have that. Actually, I have the Kappa sign. Yeah.
And the YoDa.
Let's just go through these. Helmet. Siege tank. The Stefano. Phoenix lifting the trophy.
Have you actually watched any of the games? Because it seems like you've been drawing a lot, Bjorn. It's very, very good. I like these a lot. All right, that's fine.
I've got too many.
I think we've got the idea. He's done a lot of drawings, and they're all very good. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner is Bjorn. There you go, sir.
Thank you.
Right, okay. I guess, before we go any further, congratulations to Bjorn, by the way. Before we go any further and we get into the Grand Final, you'll also be aware that we love our StarCraft 2 players here in Cologne. We've looked after them over the last couple of years, and they are absolutely top-notch players. Brilliant professionals when it comes to playing StarCraft. But when it comes to TV, not so much.
It's so awkward.
Yeah, I have still time. I can still play when I get old.
What makes me scared? I have no answer.
I want to be in the world. I don't like to watch Korean community because they are so bad manner.
If I could swap bodies with anyone. Well, I think everyone is thinking it, someone has to say it. I'll probably be a girl and take a shower, because that should be so fun. Everyone's thinking it.
2-0.
20.
Artvin.
Finished?
No.
These days, actually, I had a lot of nightmare involving snakes. It's not pleasant.
Offline, they can't say. Just shy and online. You understand?
Yes.
And like nurture.
Perfect.
One more time.
I'm scaring woman when woman speaking bad word.
My favorite feature about Apollo is just the braveness it takes to, every day, put on his pants, put on his shirt, and to walk out in the world and just kind of own it.
Yeah, I was doing it already. I thought there should be like a 10-second stare.
Oh, it's actually, yeah. It's okay.
I'm MC. You are watching WCS.
World Championship Series.
World Championship Series.
Premier League Europe. My name is Todd and you're watching WCS.
Hello, my name is Velmo and you are watching WCS.
You're watching WCS on ESL TV. Enjoy.
Right, here we go then. Time for the Grand Final, everyone. Some fantastic memories in there, and just great to have some fun with the players over the last couple of years that we've been privileged to be able to work with the WCS guys and see all the players come through. You featured in there as well. What nightmares were you having with tanks?
I don't remember this interview or the questions, but
I know this was done after I lost in round of 32. So
It was, yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe my mind was a little bit troubled
You were a little bit sad.
with Terran units. After I lost to YoDa, hey, he made the finals.
Oh, that's where we were going next, because it is the grand final. Two fabulous players who've been in absolutely terrific form over the last few months, and I can't think of a better two players to have in that fight. YoDa has gone through the last two games 3-0, 3-0, and his group games 2-0, 2-0. He hasn't lost a map in like a month and a half in WCS. MMA is just throwing it down like an old champion that he is. I don't know how we separate these two, but the good news is I don't have to, and you two do.
I mean, it's going to be incredibly tough. YoDa got here not losing a map in a long time, especially in the bracket play. MMA, he went 3-1, 3-1 against really formidable opponents that, you know, 40G, I put my money on 40G when I saw it.
So did I.
And he smashed him. And I gave MMA a few tips, which he thanked me for, but, you know, I can't be thanked at all.
It was all you.
No.
It was all you, Ben. It was all you.
All right, but like, no, they've both done incredibly well. And if, given their current form and the way that they've played, they are the best two players in WCS Europe right now, like without a shadow of a doubt. So seeing them battle it out in the final, as a Terran, even if I wasn't Terran, I'm looking incredibly forward to this.
As a Protoss, Todd, this is your opportunity to tell the world your innermost feelings about TvT.
It's a good matchup. For me, actually, YoDa versus MMA is, as you said, a little bit of a battle of current form versus, you know, more of a renowned player, as in MMA. You know, he's been a big champion. He's won way more tournaments than YoDa, who's mostly only won one, I think.
Just the one premier.
So in terms of bigger name, I guess we all agree that MMA is, but current form, who do you think is in the better current form? Both of them were pretty impressive.
When I play against either of them on ladder, actually, they absolutely obliterate me. So there's not much to separate them either. They both excel at very similar things.
In the way that they do it, there isn't.
This could be a sign. Well, we're searching for some clue right now to separate these two players, right? This could be a sign. The hat has passed over. I might be scratching at straws here or something, but I'm trying to find something we can separate these two players, because they have been absolutely fantastic all the way through this season. So you two can't do it. I can't do it. We'll find out from the commentators in a moment whether they can separate them. But what do we do? I mean,
I think, can't you tell us a little bit about their TvT if you play them, Ben?
They both play insanely aggressive with Doom drops, like quite comfortably in this series. In fact, one big difference is that MMA likes to go for extra CCs and plays macro style, whereas YoDa, he'll just go for your throat. But when you're playing against a player like YoDa that is out to kill you, more often than not, you have to do the exact same thing. And sitting up, watching the games, YoDa really didn't want to play MMA. And that is because of how good MMA is playing and how strong Doom drops are these days. And these guys, there's not much to separate them at all.
It's also because, as we heard from MMA in the interview, they've played each other a lot in the gem house.
They're friends.
Because MMA has spent time there and he's got to know who these guys are.
And I mean, even walking off to their gaming stations, they're still chatting and talking. So
Yeah.
we're probably going to see some mind games going off in this series. That could easily happen.
Todd, your thoughts on the matchup and how these two cope with each other? You've played friends in the past. I remember, you know, you and Grubby spent a long time together in Four Kings together, traveling the world together, playing with each other, practicing with each other. And then when you faced each other in tournaments, how did you cope with it?
It's difficult, obviously, you know, once the game starts, there is no friends, but even more so, you know, in terms of build orders, if they're very familiar with each other, trying to anticipate what the opponent is going to do, to anticipate what you're going to do, that's the difficult part, to get the better end of build orders.
So do you ignore it? Do you think, well, okay, he knows what I can do build order-wise, I know what he can do, so is it one of those like snap moments where you just go, right, I'm just going to do something crazy, just to throw him off?
That's one way to go about it, just to say YOLO, pick a build, and that's what you will do, I bet. But
I would definitely do that.
I don't know what they will pick. I think they are going to try to really think hard on what their opponent is most likely to do and try and do what will be a good counter.
Ben, MMA's build so far in the last 2 days, just looking over the last 8 games that he's played here this weekend, have all been very different. I mean, yesterday, very impressive, because he knew he had to kind of come out with something a little bit different against 4GG, and he proved that he could just almost play any kind of style he wanted.
Yeah, certainly. But in TvT, there's already going to be a lot of different builds you can do. There's literally 8 or so that are very, very viable. So between these two, it's going to come down. It's not going to come down to, hey, I know which one you kind of like to do. It's going to come down to, I'm going to cover up my weaknesses as good as possible and just play to my strengths and be, as Todd said, very decisive. Like, you can't second guess yourself because this guy is going to be thinking what you're going to do. You just have to be decisive and go with it.
Okay, predictions. Which way are you going?
It's a tough one.
Yeah. Do you want me to get a coin out? I mean, it might be as
You
good
go
as
first.
anything we say right
I'll pick
now.
whoever it doesn't pick.
Okay, all right, Ben, you're the Terran, the expert.
My brain is actually with YoDa, but my heart's with MMA here. I think it's going to be 4-2 or 4-3 either way.
Close game. Is that what you expect?
I think it's going to be close games, yeah. I think it could be 4-2, but I would be very shocked if it's a 4-0. So I'm going to go with YoDa. Let's say YoDa.
Okay. Well, as you can probably hear, there is... Carmack has returned to the studios, which means we now have the familiar chant of Dimaga. I can guarantee one thing about this final. It won't be Dimaga that wins. That's for sure. I like that. Should we just... Oh, well done. That was very good. We like that a lot. Okay. Keep those chanting lungs because you're going to need them. I heard a lot of MMA earlier on, but I've got a feeling they might be shouting for YoDa too in the crowd, so we'll find out who the crowd like in just a moment. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the grand final of the World Championship Series Europe, Season 3, 2014. MMA versus YoDa, and here's your commentary team, Kalaris and Apollo.
A previous WCS champion in MMA takes to the stage again in the grand finals against a man who currently is having the performance of his life. YoDa looks for a championship after being without one for so long since the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship.
It really is about MMA, who has been a champion for every single year that he's played StarCraft in. From 2011 and onwards, he's won a tournament every single year, versus YoDa. Back then, was just a Code A player, wasn't really anybody. He sprung up in that Intel Extreme Masters World Championship, won a title. He then dropped down severely since then. But as you said, he's back on form. He's on a 10-game winning streak in this tournament. 3-0 versus MC yesterday, 3-0 versus Gordon today. Undefeated in the playoff section of the World Championship Series. But he does go up against his biggest challenge yet, which is, of course, a former WCS champion himself and a 7-time overall StarCraft 2 champion MMA.
And this is MMA here, our first competitor of the final. He's a player that technically, during the round of 32, has already beaten YoDa. He beat him 2-1 there. And, oh, cheeky.
Ooh. I like the wink.
You like it?
I do like that wink.
He's your golden boy.
Yes, he is.
He is your golden boy. And he also beat him at DreamHack Moscow as well, 2-1. So technically, in terms of TvT, I would say MMA goes in with a little bit of an edge here. He's had to practice it before for 4GG. And here is YoDa.
The funny thing with YoDa is what a lot of people don't really know about him, especially if you don't really travel to these events. YoDa is such a shy little guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's very lovable, very friendly, but incredibly shy. So for him to be able to come out like that, and you saw it on his face, he's like, oh my God, I'm on camera and I'm doing this little thing with the fist on my chest. But yeah, I mean, serious business. This is going to be an epic series. It's going to be full of aggression. We're going to see both these players go at each other to try to get the momentum going. But MMA has so much experience backing him here. He is, you know, as mentioned, a 7-time champion. It's his 3rd final this year. And he's playing for an 8th StarCraft 2 championship right now.
Absolutely huge. Best of 7. Let's start things off on Dead Wing. Up to the top left-hand corner, we have our blue Terran. Representing TCM, it is YoDa. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, he's a previous WCS champion. Representing Team Acer, it is MMA.
Yeah, there's no surprise here that MMA has the backing that he has with the legacy that he has in StarCraft 2 and the legacy that he has every time on the road to BlizzCon, last year, this year. And to be honest, MMA is in the history books of StarCraft 2 and will forever be. And here we see him playing not for BlizzCon today, as we've seen him multiple times before, but for that other championship. It's been a long year, Claris. 3 seasons of WCS completed.
Yeah.
This is the last day, the last game of 3 seasons. We've had 3 awesome seasons, 3 potentially different champions this year. Well, definitely different champions this year. MC, of course, Season 1 champion. Stardust, Season 2 champion. And now a Terran to take the throne, come into this next one. And already YoDa choosing Command Center first here. Not a very regular build that we see very often. And considering that MMA's gone gas first and has opened up with the most aggressive opener versus the least aggressive opener, this one is going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, explosions ahead. I mean, Deadwing is one of those maps where if you do spawn in cross positions, then you're very, very far away from one another. So YoDa is trying to bank on that to start this series off in the best of 7. But again, we're going to see a lot of punches pulled from both sides here. I suspect MMA, with all of the preparation he put into someone like 4GG at the beginning of the round of 8, is going to be geared up and ready to go for this TvT, whereas YoDa hasn't really had to play any TvTs in this tournament, aside from MMA at the very beginning, which he lost. So I still personally have to give the edge to MMA.
Both of these players, though, have been training together. I had words with both of them. It's not just living and, you know, practicing here and there together. It's actually discussing the game. How can I improve YoDa? How can I improve MMA? They've had these discussions to push themselves both further and as better players. And it will play a lot into this because they've discussed what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are, and they're going to be highlighted and potentially exploited throughout this series. But let's see how this is going to shape up, because YoDa's the player scouting who had gone for this early command center build, and he is going to see that he's up against gas first, and he's going to have to mount a good defense. He's going to have to get a factory up fast, Hellions, Vikings, you name it. MMA, though, no information, doesn't know where his opponent is. He's somewhere up north, not exactly sure where. And he knows, well, he doesn't know, but he needs to know, he has to do damage in this game. If he doesn't do damage, the SCV count's going to be so high for YoDa, the economy is going to be so high, the unit count and upgrade count will go out of control soon. MMA is, let's just say, he's got a ticking bomb.
Yeah, and that's the risk you run if you're going to open up like this. On a map like this, on either side, really, YoDa going for that heavy economy play early on, just has to thwart it, and then he should be fine. But it's going to be Cloak Banshees on the way for MMA, looking to seize the advantage early on.
Well, what defense is there for Cloak Banshees yet? We have the second gas being taken for YoDa. Starport will start shooting. He's got a reactor that can assist with the Hellion production if it isn't going to be Banshee. If it was some kind of, you know, Hellion Marine drops along the lines there, he could use that for a switch up. But he's going to have to use something a little bit better for anti-air here, and it is going to be an engineering base we can see on the production tab here. So turret, Viking, he's going to have to build, I say, 3 turrets, 1 each mineral line, 1 around the production to be safe. Vikings, of course, included in that mix too. And to be honest, I actually rather like YoDa's position here.
Yeah, it's looking good. Oh, scan and sees everything instantly. The Banshee as it pops out. Never mind the tech lab whirring away.
So, I mean, MMA's got 0 information. He doesn't know what he's up against. He doesn't know how far behind he's going to be in this game. Look at the worker difference, already 5.
Yeah.
And it's going to continue to grow. It's 2 command centers versus 1. Double sets of mules. What, 10 minutes earlier than MMA? Here come the turrets. It's a perfect opener here from YoDa. He's gotten away with this greed. MMA goes in with the SCV. And to be honest, the 3 letters I say are FML.
Yeah, not so good, not so good. Doesn't really get too much. Sees the command center and is like, oh well, I know exactly how you've opened up behind all of this. The Banshee's on the way, but the missile turrets are already set up, Sean.
And Viking is about to pop here too, so the detection's there. The Banshee can't really go on the edge of the mineral line to pick off an SCV or not, because the Viking's going to come in.
Very, very difficult start here for MMA in this series, but still, you know, a lot to play out. We've already seen MMA play on this map against 4GG. He played a blistering game, a blinder, but in the end, don't think this Banshee's going to get too much.
7 worker difference, huge.
Needs to make that up, that's for sure. He actually goes to work on the add-on of all things, because he can't find any other room, and will get out of range of that scan, so that's, what, a small pickup, 1 scan's worth overall.
Is he going to get anything, though? He's got nothing.
Oh!
Only that was in detection.
Yeah.
There is a second Banshee. MMA's thrown down a very fast 3rd command center, realizing the trouble that he's in here.
He's been liking these economy openings in terms of, well, trying to catch up at least, going for that triple command center a little bit faster than would normally be geared up for.
But the way that this is playing out, we're going to see Mech versus Bio. I would expect YoDa to be aggressive. Considering he's got a huge lead, you don't really sit back and allow MMA to get back into the game. I would expect YoDa to be really powerful in this game. Lots of you know, movements out here, pushes early, depending on what further information he can get. Ooh, one SCV.
Yeah, finds a little hole there. Anything in MMA can get is not too bad at all. Worker count at 34 against 40. So still in favor of YoDa here.
But the thing is, YoDa hasn't followed up with a further scout, right? So with a third command center coming in, MMA will start to catch up in this game, and eventually will have a better economy than YoDa has, despite YoDa having a brilliant opening. The thing is, MMA is incredibly weak right now. Army supply, much heavily in favor of YoDa. If YoDa was able to find an area to exploit that weakness, he'd be in good shape. But right now, he doesn't know what's going on the other side of the map.
Getting that Hellion is nice there for MMA, so that eventually when he wants to fly over that third command center, he can, without it being spotted, which is nice. But at the same time, just a few units moving out here in the middle for YoDa, actually being picked off by MMA.
Imagine the Hellions that YoDa has running through the natural of MMA right this second.
So much power.
He'd burst through that natural. Look, there's nothing there. It's completely open, completely vulnerable.
If he goes with Blue Flame, I mean,
he should have that already, right? So he's got that on the way. He'd burst through that. But here comes a scan. I'm expecting it to be YoDa. It is YoDa. He sees the fast third already in. And he's like, whoa, wait a minute. He's got a third command center done. Okay. And then, to be honest, I'm not even sure where YoDa puts himself in this game. Am I in the lead? Am I not in the lead? Did my early economy work out for me? And from this point, he has to start to feel the game out more. He can't rely on a scan. He needs to get out active.
Yeah, he's almost playing, in essence, a very 4GG heavy style of, you know, just very, very heavy Hellions. But again, we saw how MMA was able to deal with that in the previous game on this very map. So if he kind of suspects something like that going on from YoDa's side of things, then he could deal with it, definitely.
So as MMA starting to get a lead in this game again. So YoDa really has to move soon. He definitely could try to break through this third, though. It's open, it's vulnerable. There are no tanks yet in this game, really. And, well, one thing that YoDa's going to do by the looks of it is going to try and drop 4 Hellions and then try to move around a little bit. He does have a third command center of his own and does also still have a supply lead. But double medevac drops, if these get into the mineral lines and gut the SCV production and SCV actual count, things are going to change heavily in favor of YoDa again.
Oh yes, definitely. This is a good opportunity for him here to do stuff, but at the same time, MMA is already setting himself up with just a few Marines on the perimeter, making sure that that drop up to the top right isn't going to do a whole lot. The one on the left is going to be the big focal point here, as there's not as much to be able to spot that early on. And he loads up yet another drop.
And MMA is really focusing on his Viking production here, looking to take air control here. Second starport with the tech lab on it as well can allow him to build Banshees in this mix too. Very good against mech. But here comes the drops.
Was able to spot that before with the Marine. So will take down the medevac, but at the same time, Blue Flame Hellions now going to work on some of these SCVs. Hasn't killed too many off just yet. 5 in total, but the Bio should be able to push that away nicely.
Yeah, so-so from YoDa. Not amazing, not terrible. So-so.
And that other drop on the left-hand side hasn't done anything just yet itself. Speeding away now, trying to get over there as quickly as possible. But he's taking precautions himself. He's making sure that nothing can go on this left-hand side, even adding a missile turret there. His army is gathering a lot of momentum itself, with the army supply being just slightly in favor of him by around 10. And Banshee production hasn't begun just yet for MMA, who looked to have been setting up for it.
Yeah, he's setting up for it, and he will do that for sure. But here comes a drop.
Morphing into Hellbats as well, trying to get on top of these SCVs. MMA didn't react as quickly as he would like, so loses 13 SCVs in total.
So combining those two drops together, that's a success now. It's a very good success there. The worker count, 69 for YoDa, 52 for MMA. But MMA, upon going for this air movement earlier on, has got a fusion core kicking in. Was that spotted? Was it spotted by a Hellion? The fusion core?
It might not have been. But even if it was...
Oh, he did.
He saw it.
He saw it. So double starports coming in, double Thors coming in.
Yeah.
That is probably the biggest part of all this game there, that he got that scout, because MMA switched into air early. And if he hadn't have noticed the fusion core, he could have been blindsided by air production and, of course, battle cruisers coming in.
Yeah.
Big scout there from YoDa.
I think it could have also been triggered. Nice pickup here by the Vikings. And one's going to get away. Very close to both of them dying off. These Hellbats have a little work to do, remorphing into the Hellions.
Oh, I'm really worried for MMA.
Yeah, this could be dangerous.
He's thrown so much resources into this air move. But remember, YoDa's playing mech. He already has +2 air attack on the way. He's got additional starports on the way because he saw this transition early enough. He's going to have a lot more air than MMA does. He's going to have all Vikings, and to be honest, heavy Viking count is probably better than battle cruisers. So this is going to be a little bit scary here for MMA, and I'm not really sure where he can go from this position. He's taking a 4th.
And this is so interesting to watch because in the end, this is the build that MMA wanted to use against 4GG in the previous series, but now he's gathering a little bit more momentum with it himself. Of course, YoDa, having spotted it, can try and counter it a little bit differently to how 4GG did because he pushed across the map, but we're going to get to see a bit more of MMA's plan come to fruition here.
I'm really worried about the upgrades for MMA. But just now throwing down double armory is going to throw them air upgrades in very, very shortly here, but we have a second armory for YoDa. He's already started Raven production as well, and it comes down to Viking Raven, really, at the end of the day. Vikings are awesome. Ravens are even better to complement them because of the point defense drone, obviously, and the Hunter-Seeker missiles, or should I say Seeker missiles. So YoDa's in pretty decent spot. Both players kind of scanning each other, looking around. That is YoDa having 2-3 scans to find out the army. He sees the battlecruisers just on the edge there. Yeah. YoDa's going to take a 4th soon, but I also think he's going to maybe get ready to take a fight, but I like in YoDa's position.
Small movement forwards here by MMA. It's almost to just trade off some of this army if he can find a hole.
Bio's useless in this game now.
Exactly. Not really wanting that when he's going up to these high-tech units, especially against the power that we're going to see from YoDa as well, who knows everything.
It's time to take to the skies, Kalaris.
I'm loving it.
Fly with the birds, Kalaris.
The best way to open up this best of 7. This is going to be pretty good. This game could really go the distance. Neither player has really made a big pivotal move just yet.
And the funny thing is nobody really wants to attack each other either, because the defender's obviously going to be more spread out. He's going to be closer to his reinforcements. And air battles are pretty edgy, to be honest. I mean, unless you have a clear advantage, you never really want to take a fight. And the only brave ones do that. And I think Will might sit back for a little bit here in this game.
Can Yamato Cannon make up the difference in terms of upgrades that YoDa has a slight edge on? I mean, it's a tough question in the end. Yamato Cannon, you don't really get to see a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
And what is he going to focus down on? The Thors? Try and bring those down fast? I think they even tank one Yamato Cannon, right?
Right.
So it's going to be difficult in terms of target priority.
Yeah, YoDa hiding his air army very well here, just to the top left. He's got all those Vikings and Ravens around. MMA does not know exactly what's happening here. Well, not really what's happening, but what unit composition. He saw the army, but not that air part. And neither player moving out here. MMA does have a 5th, and he is starting to catch up and add on his own Ravens and own upgrades shortly as well. But 6 command centers in production for MMAs.
One of which is up to the top right, just hiding that, trying to mine out some of the bases that potentially could have been YoDa's later on.
Time to get rid of some Hellions here, the sacrificial Hellions.
No, well, you had to do something, I guess, guys.
Well, they're doing a lot, actually. They're getting rid of a lot of that bio.
Getting some of the bio. If they can get some SCVs, that'd be nice as well. But in the end, killing off SCVs means that MMA's army will be a little bit bigger later on.
Yeah, and now it's a little bit. The one thing that YoDa doesn't have, actually, that MMA does, is this 5th. And to be honest, gas is actually rather important when you're trying to build up this huge air army, which both players are doing. So I do like the fact that MMA does have this 5th base and mining properly from it with his SCVs here.
Yeah, especially, I mean, considering that MMA hasn't really moved off his side of the map apart from that small bios force. He could have taken it a bit earlier.
MMA's only got 2 Ravens in his army compared to 7 of YoDa. And it's 14 Vikings for YoDa, 12 for MMA, but he does have 5 battlecruisers in there.
PDDs and Hunter Seekers, though. I mean, PDDs especially because it's going to soak up so many shots. Battle cruisers make PDDs disappear, though, very, very quickly. So it's going to be very interesting to see this battle come to a close.
Both players have seen each other's army. They're scanning, looking around. They know each other's army. MMA's in the middle of the map, and I'm not sure he's ready to take this fight yet. I think he needs more upgrades, and to be honest, more Ravens. It's all about the Ravens here.
It's about building the perfect army at this point, because neither player really wants to take the fight yet.
I mean, YoDa seems to be the one who's a little bit more confident here. Better upgrades, higher Raven count, higher Viking count.
The Thors mixed in, if those Vikings do actually clump up, is a big difference maker as well for YoDa.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, MMA has to be very careful.
Oh my god. MMA's got vision on YoDa. YoDa has not got vision on MMA.
He's being sneaky. He's being very, very sneaky with that air army, but at the same time, neither player still wants to take the fight. There is a little bit of insecurity about this as YoDa's pushing very, very far forwards
maybe
here.
MMA can surprise YoDa coming from behind here if he's not quite ready. Potentially. But
He's looking to flank. It looks like he is going to try and flank. He saw this Bioforce down at the bottom right, but where is the air army? One command center is going to get picked out there.
This is going to be such a crazy fight in a second.
Missile turrets as well. Looking to bolster the forces in the middle of the map, slowly edging towards him.
has actually sneaked away with a set of Bioforce on the left-hand side here. Going to be able to snipe that 5th base, and there is no coverage on the Xel'Naga tower. There's nothing here to spot this. He's going to snipe that planetary easily there, so that's a really nice side move here from MMA, which is not really a part of the main battle, which we will see shortly.
Yeah, and it's hard to wiggle that out.
YoDa's crawling forward with turrets.
Yeah, wow. Extra turrets actually going down here for MMA. Slow push indeed. Wow. Bringing down a few of those, but here comes the Bio. Right onto that 5th base. Planetary Fortress is not going to last long against those Marauders.
Great move from MMA, but they're going to have to fight soon. They're going to have to go head-to-head with this air army.
And a lot of upgrades on the way here for MMA, but he probably won't have too much time to get those out, as the battlecruisers now pull back just a little bit as well. It's very, very hard to actually fully engage into this. Here comes some Yomata cannons, though, bringing down some of these Thors.
Yeah, get rid
very
of that
important.
Splash. Get rid of that splash on the Viking fight.
PDD soaks up a few of those shots as well to keep one of those battlecruisers alive.
Oh my god, they're going to have to fight.
Very, very close. More PDDs. Here comes some Hunter Seeker missiles. Those Vikings need to be separated off at the front. Good move there by YoDa to keep his other Vikings out of the splash zone.
God, so close here, and the turrets will make a difference too.
3-2 against 2-2, so not too bad in terms of the upgrades when it comes to it.
Money, though. He's got a lot of money, and he's destroyed that 5th base of YoDa, but YoDa is creeping forward. And of course, he's going to be able to start eliminating a lot of these turrets at the front wall.
Very, very difficult. There's so many PDDs, so many Hunter Seeker missiles saved up here for YoDa as he slowly pushes forward.
One mistake and the game can end.
Definitely. Here comes some Hunter Seeker missiles. He actually brings one of those battlecruisers. Oh, Hunter Seeker missiles on a lot of the battlecruisers. He needs to separate those up. He takes quite a bit of damage.
Took a big hit there. MMA's Ravens took a lot of damage versus that Seeker missile.
Gotta be very careful. This is excruciating to watch. MMA is slowly being pushed away out of his corner.
Yeah, I think it's time to get the tanks to the right-hand side where that planetary is. You can't allow MMA to mine so freely up there.
Yeah, and he's going to have to slowly move forwards again. The Hellbats in the mineral line trying to do some damage. Here come a lot of Hunter Seeker missiles. He's trying to separate everything off. The battlecruisers are going to take big, big splash damage during all of that.
Yeah, they're taking a lot of the energy off these Ravens, though. They're eating a lot of these missiles.
Yeah, they are. There's more Hunter Seekers, but they will fizzle out. Those Hellbats still doing quite a lot. Banshee's trying to clean that up. And these two tanks slowly going to work on all these barracks that really aren't doing a whole lot during this. 3-3 is finished up, so technically you could go back and bio, but why would you do it when it's got to this point?
Yeah, he's got it because he's got it.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of money.
All right, so scans. Always want to know where this army is moving. It's got to be so careful, so careful. I can't imagine playing in this position where both players have similar armies.
YoDa's going to really suffocate MMA now. He's bringing the rest of his forces down. In the middle of the map, there are still those Marauders, though. We're going to snipe off a couple of these back tanks.
If they can get that trade, that's not too bad. He still has some money in the bank, so that's not terrible, but they will tank that away.
Again, MMA's looking for a way in. One mistake can cost the game. It really can at this point.
The missile turrets really help.
I mean, one Seeker missile that lands in the middle of these Vikings, game ends. It's basically like that simple.
Yeah, you have to be careful about your control. You're given a good opportunity and a large amount of time. Oh, but a nice poke forwards there by YoDa to start the fight off.
Got some Seeker missiles off, but shouldn't really hit.
Fizzling out. One hits a battlecruiser, but that's not too much at all.
And YoDa going around with a hit squad of tanks and Hellbats to clear up the rest of MMA's economy. And YoDa really needs to take that 5th. He's been on 4 bases all game long.
And here comes a lot of Hunter Seeker missiles once again. He can't stick around. Oh, still fizzles out. You've got to just get right out of that range, but at the same time, that left the battlecruisers vulnerable at the front, so 1 or 2 did die. More joining the fight here, but again, it's this starve-out tactic. The battlecruisers have gone forwards once again to try and do some damage. It will actually die before the Hunter Seeker missile even hit, and here come a few Hunter Seeker missiles! Oh, those are big for YoDa! Those are very big!
Yeah, you got a couple of big hits there, and that's the first time that we've really seen any Seeker missiles connect there. That's very nice. All these Ravens very, very low. Another hit, and they're gonna... Well,
and that's
going to blow up.
That's the thing. It's like he's straight back up to max, but he's got to continuously kind of whittle this down, break it down. More Hunter Seekers this time from both sides, actually. One hits that, and there was another one actually hitting YoDa's army, trying to weaken a bit of that off as well. He did hit a lot of those Vikings, having to drop mules to repair.
Yeah, he's going to repair that. He's also got his 5th base up and running, but MMA's still mining from that one on the right-hand side, which is a bit of a nuisance for YoDa for sure, but it's good to see that YoDa's got that base on the left-hand side back up. And it's just kind of trading off a little bit here.
Drops the scan, sees that base up to the top right, sends just a few units up there.
Yeah, Trying to split off these tanks to kind of defend those back bases.
How do you really break... Oh, good job, Marine. You've done well so far. How do you really break this frontal position, though? He walks forwards with some more Hunter-Seeker missiles on some siege tanks. So he will break those down, but aside from that, how do you break this position with the missile turrets?
It's very difficult. I mean, you've got it. The way that it's going to work, I would imagine, is they're going to edge away over each other, and then the player who has the most money can replenish what he's edged away.
Yeah.
Will have a better chance. But MMA's put up quite a bit of bio here from the back, and
it's a lot of Marauders trying to break down this ground position. If you can get away with those missile turrets and try and hunt that down. But a lot of the PDDs were soaking up some of the damage during all of that. That means
will break out here.
Yeah, that means that all of those Ravens don't really have too much energy to be able to go into combat later on because you have to spend all of them on PDDs. And there was a small force at the back trying to intercept the reinforcements.
Yeah, very nice there by MMA. I didn't really see this Marauder production, and he will break out from this, out this little contain, and the game will extend for a little bit longer here.
I asked the question, how do you break out of it? I guess Marauders did the job just right.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely did. And, well, MMA breaks out that contain, and the game slows down once again, even though the game was rather slow, but very tense at that point.
Look how calm he looked, considering the situation. Very controlled.
He managed that very well, because a lot of people would have just struggled in that position and forced the fight they would have probably lost. But he was patient, he lost the base, then he had to, continue to mine on the right-hand side. He managed to keep that base alive. But these Marauders are going to try and snipe that planetary once again, but there are a couple of tanks in support.
Well,
there's only 2, though.
A planetary is going to fall very fast with that amount of Marauders, with 3-3 as well. So he's going to go, well, a refinery in the end. I suppose some Hunter-Seekers could force that to run away for quite a while.
And here we go. Approached and passed the 30-minute mark.
I can't believe after that the game has actually stabilized, of all things. But MMA, with that base up to the top right there, has gone relatively unhindered.
Well, Terran versus Terran at the highest level produces some of the best StarCraft 2 games. So it's good to see the ups and downs here. But MMA going to start mining from a lot more bases, and this is the thing that's going to give him the edge for the next part of the game here, is that he does have the better income and therefore will have the better bank, because at this point, YoDa is still has been working in his corner of the map, whereas MMA has a base to the top right. He has his corner of the map, but 3 other command centers to the bottom left there. So, well, 2 now, but, MMA just has a lot better longevity in this game to stay in it for longer, to trade, fight, rebuild, make another army. Whereas YoDa, not so much. I mean, it looks like he's got a lot of money, but it comes down to gas at the end of the day here. He's only got 1,500, and that's not a lot, to be honest.
It's like, what are you going to do with the minerals when all the gas is gone, right?
Exactly, and
not much.
The gas is a couple of Ravens, really,
Yeah.
It's like 6, 7 Ravens.
And that is a lot of Ravens that he has in this army. He actually dropped some Hunter-Seekers. He's going to have to run away from all of that. They do fizzle out, but these ones don't. Good connections.
Oh, MMA.
Brilliant start there for MMA in this counter-offensive, as 2 Banshees are going to go to work and kill off a planetary.
That's really good there from YoDa. 1 turret missing from the other side of the map has left that planetary vulnerable.
He has to find some way to really deal with these locations.
And, MMA is pushing this weak spot on this left-hand side. The air is weak, the tank line is deep. But if this air can break through, there are turrets in the mix as well.
Still looking for another fight here up towards this top left base. He knows that this is the pivotal mining base right now of YoDa, because every other location he pretty much has laid claim to. Okay, so a few Hunter-Seekers once again.
Yeah.
They will kill those tanks.
Yep.
And a poor SCV for his troubles. But the game slowed down just a little bit.
Well, MMA is looking for a way in here.
Yeah.
If he breaks this spot, that's a wonderful position. He's using Seeker missiles excellently on the tanks, wearing the tanks down, because if he gets the tanks down, then obviously the Marauder and Marines can go in.
Yeah.
And he's got rid of about 3 or 4 tanks.
Another good hit there.
Yeah.
YoDa's not quite on top of things when it comes to retreating out of those Hunter-Seekers. He's taken quite a few.
Yeah,
and again, he takes it straight to the siege tanks again, bringing down a lot of them.
3 or 4 siege tanks there.
Look at the supply.
If a couple more of these goes down, the Marauder and Marines will go in, and they'll get rid of the turrets and the planetary.
Yeah, if he just keeps pushing back that position, it's really good.
Starving him from that gas on the left-hand side as well.
He was leapfrogging forwards with the point defense drones
down
to cover that position. It's very, very well done so far.
And, yeah, really good play here from MMA. Another Hunter-Seeker missile going down on that tank at the back.
The mules don't want to be anywhere near that one. So going to go straight to the repairing.
Right-hand side, Vikings caught off there. Loses two of them. Slight mistake there from Acer MMA, but Ooh, he's coming around the left-hand side with his Ravens.
Trying to get a bit fancy here.
2 more tanks going down.
Oh, he's just finding these positions for the siege tanks. If he can keep breaking them down slowly, and he's trading away siege tanks for energy, in essence.
Yeah.
Which
and
is
this is
really
ideal.
nice.
Obviously, with YoDa who's struggling with Inca, whereas MMA isn't. This is ideal. This is perfect.
Exactly. It's the gas again. Look, he's at 400 or so gas and 3,000 minerals. If he keeps these Seeker missiles, this is great here by MMA.
Zoning out with the point defense drones, coming in with the Seeker missiles, a couple more hits, and he's gonna push through this bio soon.
Yeah, and you can't counter with point Seeker missiles because by the time he's throwing them down,
he's gonna try the planetary.
Try and bring this down. If he can get this, he can deal a lot of damage to the economy, but has to pull back. Hunter Seeker missiles causing him a lot of problems there.
Yeah, really good point defense drones there from YoDa to keep that planetary alive. You must not lose this position. But at the same time, is this position even the... I mean, it is the position he wants, but he needs more of these type of expansions.
Yeah.
It's not... You can't just mine one base. MMA is all over the place. He's got the entire map here.
Exactly.
He only needs more than just this one base. MMA scanning to the top right saying, oh boy, I'm in such a good position right now. This guy doesn't even have any other bases, just this one to the left. If I keep the pressure on, he's going to run out of money. I'm trading, as you said, energy for these tanks.
And he knows it. I mean, look at the production tab. It's 6 Ravens in production for MMA compared to Hellbats that aren't really going to do massive amounts when it comes to a straight-up engagement after he keeps wearing him down, And
MMA's building the Great Wall of turrets on this right-hand side, or he can just kind of keep away YoDa from even floating any units over there.
Oh, and the planetary fortress once again is laid siege, and it's going to end up falling.
He's going to lose it, I think.
Not the best position at all. If he loses that, he loses a lot of income. His gas income's just falling so hard, but he keeps it alive somehow. He's going for a counter-attack. He knows he can't really hold at that location. He runs into a planetary fortress wall, and he's got to find another way.
He's like, oh my god, you got a planetary fortress there.
This is difficult right now. Very, very difficult. He needs to find room with his own Hunter Seeker missiles, with point defense drones as well. Drops trying to keep some of this economy dead and buried over on the left-hand side.
MMA, fantastic there, still starving that base despite not really being there present with his army, but he's going to look to take a fight very shortly here. He's going to move in.
Hunter Seeker missile. There's one of those Vikings that isn't moving so far, and he's going to take a big hit to those Vikings, as well as the siege tanks.
And again, MMA is going to move in with point defense drones and Hunter Seeker missile these turrets and continue to do this.
MMA's first point of view here is he's going to try and bring down even more siege tanks. Gets a lot of splash damage on them. Doesn't even care to look. He just walks away from those explosions as he looks to just prevent any damage from happening on this left-hand side base, right-hand side base as well. Throwing down Hunter Seeker missiles on this Thor.
And he's realized that he's killed up all the tanks, so he's added Marines and Marauders back to his composition here to take the fight versus the ground as well. So nice mix-up there from MMA. Get rid of some of these Hellbats. They'll be quite dangerous versus the Marines.
Oh, that could be quite a bit of damage. Actually, most of them fizzle out just but one. And the army behind this is gathering momentum again for MMA.
MMA's destroyed the tanks. He could probably win the air fight, but he'll definitely win the air fight if there's a bunch of Marines in support to this. So nice switch up there from MMA.
YoDa scrambling. A missile turret is currently working on this command center, so why not? But look at his gas bank. He has 100 gas to his name.
Look
he
at the
needs
middle
to
of the
find...
map. Look at all these Marauders and Marines.
If he just stimmed and went for it, I mean, of course, Hunter Seeker missiles could be a big problem, but this is just all over the place.
MMA's stretching the ability of YoDa to build the right army against what MMA has.
Okay, Hunter Seeker missile actually went down on both of these armies here. That's quite a lot of them. Do fizzle out in the end. But this Marauder force is just getting right on top of his opponent. GG! YoDa taps out without the big fight even happening. And MMA, the longevity, pulls through.
It was just a perfect strategy game there from MMA. Was put in a very difficult situation from the get-go. Recovered. Came back into the game after being behind with his economy. Was then put in a difficult situation from YoDa, who moved out despite MMA trying to hide the battlecruiser kind of switch up. YoDa found it. He then positioned MMA in a submission-type move, which MMA was able to break out of. And then the super late game, MMA was in control of. He was expanding better. He was controlling his economy better. He was suffocating YoDa better. MMA looked fantastic in the later parts of that game. And all his moves with his units, his point defense drones, to Seeker missiles, to the switch back into bio. Brilliant.
What a way to start off this final, as YoDa really brought out a strong game. But in the end, how are you supposed to break someone like MMA when he is showing those kinds of levels of understanding of TvT, bringing down the tanks, trying to get to that one spot, that one key spot to bring down the economy? MMA played that brilliantly, from breaking out to counter pressure himself.
And a bit of a cheeky grin on MMA, probably feeling quite confident in himself to be able to go the distance in this finals. Of course, the best of 7 here. But YoDa loses game number 1 now. There's one big difference I think we can pick up from both of these players, you know, outside of the actual game they're playing now, is that MMA has tons and tons and tons of experience on YoDa when it comes to playing these best of 7 finals. Of course, with MMA 7 titles to his name, the majority, if not all of them, have pretty much been best of 7s. He knows how to play this type of mental warfare when it comes to, you know, gaining momentum, picking the right strategies, builds, picking apart your opponent, playing out 7 maps if need be. YoDa's a little bit limited in that experience, of course, just playing in that 1 grand final at the Intel Extreme Masters back then.
Yeah. And
but he's definitely a very skilled player. Both of them are bantering between each other in the chat lobby, which is why they're grinning.
Yeah. And you've got to remember as well that from the transition from game number 1 to game number 2, Deadwing, big map. Obviously, great opportunity for a game to evolve as it did there in the first game. Next map, merry-go-round, not really as big. Opportunities for a little bit more poking and prodding earlier on. Of course, it can go the distance, just it's a little bit easier to get to your opponent and really start to exert yourself upon them.
I think this is so good for MMA, just to kind of flex his muscles a little bit, because that's going to scare YoDa. Like, YoDa was on top of the game almost all of it. He had the better start, he had the better mid game, he had an awesome contain, yet couldn't beat MMA. So question marks are going to surround YoDa, and how the hell do I actually beat MMA? And then, of course, on the flip side of things, MMA is showing the world right now that he's on form, he's on fire.
Yeah.
He's going to BlizzCon in a couple of weeks, and he's a contender for the title after a DreamHack Moscow win, and he's looking at winning this for his 2nd WCS championship as well. Who really can stop MMA this year?
Let's get into it then. Game number 2, as we have this man spawning up to the top left, already 1 game up in this grand finals. Representing Team Acer, it is MMA. And down to the south, he's been on fire so far, but in that last game, unfortunately, he burnt down. Spawning as our blue Terran, representing TCM, it is YoDa.
Has to stay composed now, because a lot of the times in StarCraft, when you lose to an all-in or you lose to something which could have easily been stopped, yes, sometimes players do get tilted by that, but also other players are like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I could have actually beat you if I'd done this better. But in that game, where was the difference? Like, where can YoDa be like, yo, let me just think about that for 5 seconds before I jump into map number 2?
That's a tough
I
one.
don't really know how I beat you in that game, because it's going to take a long time to break down that map and kind of think about it a little bit more and what he did bad and what he could do better. And that kind of game is very difficult going into the next game immediately, because if it does get to that long stage again where MMA is playing on fire, he's making all these right moves, he's playing at the speed of lightning as well. I don't know, man. This is definitely YoDa's time to buckle down and not give in so easily to MMA. But look at this. YoDa going command center first again. But this time, MMA has gone, not for the gas first, but he has a gas here, and I think it's going to be a Reaper by the looks of it. And MMA's also got an SCV scout. And he's going to go over there and be like, you really trying this again on me?
Guess so. And that barracks is very delayed, so this Reaper's going to have an absolute field day over here.
And it's a barracks gas as well, which isn't the best versus Reaper. If he knew it was going to be Reaper exactly, then even a second barracks is better because you can start to climb up with the Marines to actually defend against the Reaper here. But MMA...
He's already going to work on this SCV, knowing that if he can slow it down in any way, shape, or form, that Reaper is going to have a lot of fun. As he gets his command center on the way behind all of this as well.
I mean, it's going to be single Marine production, and YoDa's going to be trying to climb up to a factory, which won't really take impact in this game anytime soon. So the Reaper is going to have a field day with a Marine or 2, and then SCVs. He will definitely have to pull SCVs here.
Yeah, dancing and dancing and dancing. You can just keep coming back and after healing up. So this bunker is very, very important. He has to keep his Marines healthy and live to make sure that that Reaper can't do everything it wants.
Yeah, it's funny that YoDa's got this bunker. He doesn't even know what he's playing against, but he's about to find out.
Yep, and that Reaper starting to cause some problems.
Yeah.
He needs to repair his SCV almost, but he's definitely going to lose at least one. A second one will end up falling. Marine looks to help out, but run away.
Whoa!
Oh! What?
Mistake from MMA. A millimeter south. He could have jumped down there.
That was unexpected.
Yeah, that was not meant to happen there.
No.
That's a little bit unfortunate there for MMA, of course, but brilliant news for YoDa catching that. That was just MMA's mistake there, unfortunately.
Yeah. Things like that don't really happen too much at this level, but
he killed 2 SCVs already, and his command center is pretty fast too. I mean, it's a Reaper expansion, which is actually one of the faster expansion builds that you can choose as Terran. So, and as long as he can keep this base from not mining really, and maybe grab an SCV again. Problem is his factory's just a little bit behind here as well.
Well,
oh no, actually it's not too different, not too bad.
Yeah, Reaper's still poking around, having a little bit of a field day.
The second Reaper here, YoDa's like, no man, I'm not too sure what you're doing here behind this.
Yeah.
This could have been a second barracks potentially, but he's just whatever. He's just gonna chill, and then we'll take this expansion, which is good for MMA, by the way.
At least pushing it away from that natural is really, really nice. I mean, MMA here starting his, is that a tech lab? Tech lab on the way.
I like YoDa's choice here. He can't really build SCVs from the natural because he's gonna get picked off by the Reapers. He's like, all right, I'll lift in the main and build them from there, and then. You know, just kind of build up my SCV count inside the main base. I'll take my expansion soon.
Yeah, bit of a slower start to this game, number 2, with a few fireworks at the beginning.
Yeah.
But aside from that, where are you going, SCV? Maybe a bunker?
Maybe, yeah.
For good measure?
Yeah, it could delay this expansion further.
Yeah, and yes, he will. All right.
The next follow-up is actually rather interesting here because YoDa's still without any information in this game. This bunker won't complete, by the way.
No.
But MMA's going for Banshee Hellion.
Ooh.
Oh, actually,
it might complete. It might complete.
Okay, no, he targets the SCV, but...
He's like, no, I don't want that to happen.
In doing that, he loses everything else. Great micro here by MMA.
Jeez. And those Hellions could just run past if they wanted to. He pokes up there, sees the bunker, wants to get out, but was a little bit.
He's bringing another SCV. He's going to try to keep this contain on.
Oh, wow.
MMA's building a Viking here. Scan for the first time from YoDa. Actually sees the kind of structure and setup here, but MMA's going to try and contain here. If he contains for long enough, and if YoDa gets stuck on one base, then obviously MMA's going to shoot incredibly far ahead.
That's funny that he
cannot let this contain happen.
Yeah, he didn't see the tech lab, though, when he scanned there, so he can't really fully... he has a Viking out, so he has some precaution, of course, and he's getting Widow Mine as well to just try and bolster himself here, but this is a bit of an odd situation. He is being
can't let this
contained.
happen.
No,
he can't let this happen.
You're right. You're right.
I mean, he'd need a lot of units or tanks to push this out, and right now he kind of has, you know, neither.
Nothing. Yeah, just adding on extra barracks to keep his production going, but tried to evacuate out and was spotted very quickly and looks for the opportunity to go straight in.
If you're going to leave your base, then that's fine by me.
Oh, geez, going straight to the mineral line. He has to come back and defend against this because he's not only losing mining time, he's also losing SCVs. He's down to, he's lost 8 here, and he's going to lose some of his fighting units as well.
Oh dear, YoDa.
Good control as well by MMA to keep a lot of those Hellions alive and still pose a threat. Widow Mine. Okay, so gets just out of range.
This is unbelievable. MMA is absolutely on fire right now. It's hashtag MMA on fire. He's doubling his opponent's supply. He's got his command center rocking away with the SCVs. It's 38 to 25.
Don't. Why?
YoDa is so much in trouble. He's so far behind. We got the Hellion production coming up. MMA starting to build with, you know, an army to just over on the natural very shortly. The supply is huge between the both of them. And technically here, MMA's just played superior. YoDa got caught with a greedy build again. He fell behind. We're about to see Hellion Viking just over on that natural very, very shortly here as it counts up. There's going to be turrets added into the mix because a Raven was squeezed out on top of this. And it's not like an all-in because MMA has 42 SCVs. He's got a healthy economy. He can throw down a 3rd command center while doing this and moving out. So I'm really finding it a little bit difficult here for YoDa to hold on. He's got Bios, who's going to have Marines without stim, without combat shields, without any upgrades, which are obviously terrible against Blue Flame Hellions.
Yeah, I mean, how does he even hold on against this?
He needs like 2 bunkers on his front wall, but he hasn't really identified what he's playing against yet.
Oh, he's not going to see it either. He's not going to see it. He's focusing all his all of his time on this idea of going for the counter. Good split off of 1 SCV there to only get 1 kill.
Yeah, this buys him a little bit of time here.
Yes, it does. Brings a few of these Hellions back, which decide to attack the...
2 kills, whatever, man. Like, MMA throws his 3rd down. He's going to move out very, very shortly here. There's 2 attacks. If YoDa goes out, oh my god, don't move out.
No.
Well, I mean, he doesn't really know the whole unit count here. He's about to walk into a Blue Flame death.
Yeah, he feels he has to do something, but he sees these Hellions at the front. He's like, uh-oh, why are you out here?
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
You come to me, I come to you.
That's okay. That's okay.
MMA's just going to get everything together and walk over this.
Yeah, it's going to be brutal. It's actually going to be brutal. This is not going to go well.
Good
not
night,
at all.
Good night, sweet prince.
No, it's been a nice time, but your end is nigh. One siege tank falls to blue flame Hellions alone. The Marines at the back trying to hold on against this as well, but he gets his entire army wrecked. GG! MMA 2-0 lead here in this grand finals. And right now, his preparation and form in TvT is looking very, very strong.
One thing that you have to remember as well is that let's just rewind a little bit. Who did MMA have to prepare for the round of 8?
4GG, man.
4GG.
Yeah.
4GG, the Terran versus Terran expert. MMA obviously put in a lot of thought, you know, going into that series, and it's obviously helping them out here as well. And then on top of that, with practicing with YoDa and knowing YoDa inside out, and then putting the preparation against 4GG into play here, MMA is rocking it and is looking unstoppable right now. You know, a great macro game in game number 1. He didn't really have that many weaknesses and, you know, turned it around. This one was just beautifully played with minimal amounts of units, great micro, great decisions, great overall army movement. What really is going to stop MMA right now? It's 2-0 up, and this could end very, very fast.
Yes, it could. Yes, it could.
MMA is confident. Coach Inu is confident. Everyone's confident for an MMA victory night right now. I mean, he tweeted early before the finals begun, all right, time to go win my 2nd WCS championship.
And I'm not surprised. I mean, if you think about the round of 8 bracket as a whole, whoever comes out of a TvT that they've been preparing for at that level, with such a Terran heavy bracket, it's gonna pay so many dividends, so many. And right now, with 2-0 up here, moving on to Nimbus, YoDa has to do something so special to try and work his way out of this, because MMA is looking so on form.
He's looking incredible. He's looking like a winner. He's looking like a BlizzCon first place contender as well. And builds up the hype ready for that tournament as well, as we do approach the road to BlizzCon now. But, well, YoDa's got to put on the brakes. If he loses this next game, it might as well be over. It's very, very difficult to come back to win 4 games in a row against a world-class player MMA. This map is the most important map that YoDa can play. He has to win this.
Absolutely has to. Going 3 games down would be catastrophic. Spawning to the bottom left-hand corner, it's our red Terran representing Team Acer. It is MMA. Uh-oh. And spawning up to the top right-hand corner, it's our blue Terran representing TCM. It is YoDa. Rowdy crowd.
All right, no more command center first, I think, here, YoDa. Let's focus a little bit more on, you know, regular openings.
He could, though. He could go command center first. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Can't do it again.
It would be a bit crazy.
Yeah, gas first from YoDa versus the faster barracks here from MMA. So MMA can go Reaper again here with a 12 gas, which is going to do. So it is going to be a Reaper expansion, which I do like on this map, actually.
Yeah.
Against gas first, Reaper expansion, you're going to need an engineering bay more than likely with a Reaper expansion, because what YoDa's building towards is more than likely going to be Banshee, and the more common of all is Banshee expansion. He can, though, switch it up. It can be like a Marine Hellion, Widowmine kind of play. It could be a Super 1-base all-in where he commits to Banshee, then Tank and Vikings, and, you know, moving out like that. But the most common is going to be gas first Banshee expansion. Whether he does that or not, we'll find out shortly. But MMA, if he does play against that common opening, will absolutely need an engineering bay. There's no way you can get out a Viking and Raven in time to deflect it. You maybe get a Viking, but you're going to lose a lot to Cloak. But it all comes down to what both of these scout, and of course, more importantly, what YoDa chooses to do with this early gas and, of course, early factory.
And it being cross spawns here, unfortunately, MMA's Reaper's going to take a little bit longer to actually get over there and really get keen eyes on what's going on. May even get denied, depending on unit positions, etc. But very difficult with only just a few Marines at the beginning to fully deny that. There's only one way to jump up with a Reaper on this map, and it's on that left-hand side of YoDa's base. So at least YoDa can prepare himself in terms of his unit positioning.
Yeah, and he's gone for a Marine then Reaper. That's interesting here.
Oh, wow.
He could obviously use the Reaper Marine and SCV for a movement out shortly, depending on how greedy MMA's been. Reaper's going to be able to push MMA's Reaper back, and also the Reaper can be useful for scouting here too for YoDa. because it is a 4-player map. He sent out a late SCV. There usually is going to be some block and defense to the scouting SCV. Reaper can avoid that.
And Hellions in production here for YoDa, with the second gas being added on. So could happily get a very, very strong composition here.
Yeah, there's going to be a tech lab on that.
Yeah.
Barracks. There's MMA. He's going to use the Reaper now. And Chase, this is confusing as well for MMA. Sees the Reaper, he's like, oh, Reaper expand versus Reaper expand. No, not the case here.
Yeah, exactly.
But a very early engineering bay from MMA. Very, very early. Anyway.
Ah, okay. Well, how quickly does he add on missile turrets, etc.?
Yeah, it's for a +1 attack, though, so he's actually building to a timing, or could build towards a timing here with the very fast upgrades. Greedier play from MMA for sure, but also the turret does offer him detection.
I mean, being 2 games,
it still looks like Reaper expansion versus Reaper expansion in MMA's eyes. He could get surprised here.
Yeah, he could, because right now Starpot's switching on up.
Well, there's YoDa. Oh my god, I didn't actually notice. YoDa hasn't actually found MMA. Look to the bottom left. Look for his vision. He actually went there and didn't see. So he thought his opponent was top left, which is actually delaying a lot of this.
That is a bit of a shame, because this army is quite strong.
It's strong, but there's 6 Marines out. And because if he'd gone in at that time, it would have been 4, but now it's going to be 6.
If Hellions get Gudge, then maybe they can make up some ground, but it's going to be difficult, because right now the Marines aren't really that well lined up.
Yeah, I don't think this can work, actually.
It's going to try and poke, and well, the first volley of the Hellions there was only really focusing down on 1 Marine. He tries to focus on the 2 in the middle that were lined up. But
great macro by him, great defense there as well. Deflects that very easily. Reaper gets in and gets a full scout as well. Sees the starport. If he sees the Raven, this is even better because he doesn't really need turrets.
Might even get a SCV. Oh, wow. And denies a lot of mining time. The Hellions tried to poke at the front, but his attention was turned.
And sees the Raven, so he knows he's not playing Banshee and Cloak, so... The Raven has to use a turret. I think he's going to lose more SCVs. YoDa's falling apart. He's fallen apart in this series.
This is not a good start for
MMA's
YoDa.
about to finish with +1 attack. He can have +1 armor soon, and he's going to build towards a timing around 1-1 now, you can imagine. He's going to go up here and be like, is that his command center starting?
Oh, jeez.
Like, he's in a wonderful position.
MMA is just running YoDa.
The command center!
No! He's in a wonderful... Oh, this is spiraling out of control from YoDa. He somehow needs to stabilize.
There's a 9 SCV worker difference after 5 were killed there. MMA has +1. He's building a bunker just to make sure he doesn't die anytime soon. He's getting a factory. He'll go up towards a starport now. And he's just going to have medivacs with a lot of bio units with 1-1 upgrades because he should start that +1 armor in a second.
And how do you shut it down from YoDa's side of things? Does he have to get siege tanks to force this back? What's his options?
Well, he's gone for pure Hellions. He's probably going to play mech here, you'd imagine, because he's gone for a 3rd command trench as well. There's no way he's playing bio in this game. He has to play mech, so he's going to have to build a 2nd factory shortly. You can't play off just reactor Hellions. He's going to have to get blue flame.
Yeah.
And it has to be on top of when the Marines and Marauders move out, whether they drop or they try to walk up the ramp. He has to be there. He has to be dealing damage. But he needs blue flame. He absolutely needs blue flame.
Yeah, against all this bio. Puts all of his weakened Marines into that bunker just to make sure that if anything's to come along, then those are the most protected ones.
This timing is going to be unbelievable.
It's going to be difficult to hold.
It's going to be unbelievable here. YoDa has to hold on versus it. He has to hold on. The Viking and Raven can help, and with another Viking potentially can assist versus the medivacs here. So hopefully he can hold on, otherwise this will be a 3-0.
And it hurts so hard because of how much YoDa, how much MMA knows about his opponent. He sees the full extent of his infrastructure. He saw that the command center at the back was so late. The 3rd command center being applied as well.
MMA says, he goes, okay, wait a minute. He's going for blue flame Hellions. He's on 3 command centers. He's pretty weak right now. This time he's going to kick ass. That's what he just said to him. 3rd barracks coming in as well from MMA, and now YoDa scans and says to himself, oh my god!
We're back to that 3-letter acronym.
Because the medivacs are on their way, and he knows they're on their way. Blue flame is trying to be rushed out here, and YoDa is, oh my gosh, playing with fire here. Medivac. He's going to get a medivac. He's going to try and, while defending, drop at the same time. So maybe if he can defend and deal damage to MMA, he can crawl back into this. Obviously, that takes away units from the fight here.
It's going to be very difficult. It's 42 army supply against 27. Technically, the meching player can, rock it up in terms of supply with those siege tanks popping out. Very, very supply heavy in essence. But, I mean, there's a lot of production behind all of this for MMA. He's even added on his armory to get up to 2-2 if he wants to. But this push out has to be deflected with major gusto.
He has to stop this push. He has to stop this. The 2nd engineering bay and armory is done, so 2-2 is going to start in a second. MMA's gone up to 5 barracks now as well, so the unit production is never, ever going to end. If MMA slows down YoDa with this push, if he kills him, he's dead, it's 3-0. If he slows him down, the follow-up's going to be worse. YoDa has to stop this. He must not take damage. He hasn't got his units in position right now. He can't take damage to this. It's so important.
He's only got 1 siege tank out, right?
Flame will finish just in time. That is a lifesaver here.
Yes, it is. He's also got a few Hellbats in those medevacs, so he's going to try and drop them straight on top of this army. But at the same time, this is a very, very strong Bioforce. Pulls just slightly out of range.
The natural is completely exposed, by the way. Obviously, with YoDa having everything there is that Viking and Raven to help. MMA has a look in here. Drops one Marine, and then the tanks take the damage, and then he goes.
Okay, so spreads out a lot of this, trying to micro against all of these Hellbats, splitting quite nicely against it. If he kills off all of the Hellbats and tries to get to that soft, squishy innards of the siege tanks.
Oh, the tanks.
Oh, it's very, very vulnerable. There's not that much bio left over, but it's enough. It's enough to break through. The siege tanks fall down, and with that, he cripples the army. Uh-oh. GG! MMA 3-0 up in this finals is making Terran versus Terran look easy.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have an incredibly fast evening here. MMA wants to go home. It says, by the way, if you didn't know, YoDa, I've got BlizzCon to play in 2 weeks. I've got to prepare for it.
I've got to practice, man.
I've got to practice. Get out of the way. This is...
My TvT's okay. I need to be looking at my other matchups and powering those through.
This is so one-sided here. YoDa just is getting completely smashed in this final, sad to say. And it's happened now. He has to win 4 games in a row against a 7-time StarCraft 2 champion, against a former, just a couple of seasons back, WCS champion. YoDa's road to actually recovering to come back to the player he used to be. MMA knows, I mean, he's like, I can't lose this now.
Yeah, he must have so much confidence. So much confidence going into this. How do you lose that attitude when you've just dismantled your opponent in 3 very, very different games? MMA is looking untouchable.
I mean, in every single department, MMA is winning.
Yes.
Like, there isn't a way where YoDa's actually doing better here, unfortunately. He's obviously getting a little bit unlucky at times. Like, not scouting your opponent's base is incredibly unfortunate there. But he's got to focus here. He's got to control himself. He's got to not let the emotions get to him. He's got to settle down and play like he played earlier today, play like he played yesterday. Remember, leading up to this grand finals, he kicked butt. I mean, 3-0 versus MC, Season 1's champion earlier this year, and then 3-0 Golden, who was undefeated to that point. And then all of a sudden, he's getting 3-0'd himself here. It's a complete turn of events.
Keeping your composure at this point as YoDa must be extremely, extremely difficult, but he has to. He has to muster everything he has within himself now to make an unbelievable recovery. But how? How are you supposed to do that against a guy like MMA, who has prepared for TvT so diligently, has brought the games to the table in the grand final, and has run rings around YoDa? This is going to be a tough one.
I mean, he's crushing him right now. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. He knows it. He's getting absolutely destroyed in this finals. It's not even close. It's not even close. And unfortunately, he's got to dig deep to find a way back into this. And he has to take it a single game at a time. If he starts thinking, I've got to beat MMA 4 times in a row.
You can't.
You're not gonna do it that way.
Not at all.
You have to do it 1 game at a time. The next map is King Sejong Station. Think about what you're gonna do here. Win this map, then think about the next one and continue on like that.
And MMA has one of the biggest cushions he's had in his entire career in terms of finals. Let's get into it as we now have game number 4. Will MMA make that 4-0 clean sweep, or will this man YoDa make the recovery? He's got a long road ahead of him here in the very, very last game potentially of the night. King Sejong Station is our map, spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner. Currently 3 games up in this best of 7, representing Team Acer. It is MMA. And to the top left-hand corner, it could be the last game that we see him in here in the finals of WCS Europe 2014, Season 3. In the blue, representing TCM, it is YoDa.
All right, so MMA is gonna open up gas first, likewise YoDa. So both are gonna go for this aggressive opening here. This can create wild scenarios, of course, when both players are aggressive, kind of throwing units at each other. It all comes down to, like I said earlier, YoDa just has to chill out. He needs to calm down and just... I mean, he's making mistakes. MMA's capitalizing, and at the rate this will be a 4-0. So hopefully YoDa can turn this around. I'd love to see this go further. You know, game one was excellent. If the series had been like game one all the way through, you know, it could have gone down as one of the biggest and, you know, some of the best StarCraft we've seen in quite a while. But game 2 and 3, not as much.
No, not so much. But you're right. Game number 1 was a blinder. Truly, truly fantastic. And right now, YoDa needs to bring all of that focus and energy back from game number 1 and try and apply it here on King Sage on Station. But on the flip side of things, MMA could do whatever he bloody well likes. He could do anything and just try and break the back of YoDa because he has such ample time available to him here.
Yeah, YoDa just checking for proxies here.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't want to lose the game easy. So has a quick look on his natural and outside his main base here. It does slow down his build in comparison to MMA's a slight bit here. Obviously with this SCV not working.
And we'll have to go home in the end. Spots nothing. Absolutely nothing. As MMA back at home is like, well, I've just beaten you in plenty normal games. I can just play normally again. He believes he is superior to his opponent. He's proved it in the past 3 games. Why not play straight down the line?
Mirrored so far, still. At this point, second gas has been taken at the same time here. Starports will be added on, and more than likely see a Tech Lab 3 thrown into the mix very shortly as well by both players. And it is just going up towards the Banshee. So far it does look like a Banshee expansion play. And it's completely mirrored through to this. I wonder if one of these players randomly, because it is technically random, chooses a Raven. They would get the better up in that regard. Obviously, Raven and Marines around is better. And then with a Viking on top versus the Banshee. Let's find out.
MMA's build, I think, in the end lines up a little bit better for that, considering his gas. But we shall find out in just a second. As he does opt for Raven.
Oh, please. Don't say.
Oh, no.
Okay. So YoDa goes Banshee. Gas first Banshee versus MMA, who just goes for the Raven straight away and has 5 Marines. So in this position, MMA is already building the defense necessary versus Banshees, obviously. And that doesn't bode very well for YoDa again. And MMA is going to move over with his SCV here and actually going to look at the natural and is going to say to himself, ooh, no command center. Okay, he's on 1 base. He's probably gone gas first. He's actually could have, more than likely, go Banshee.
He's just going to spot everything.
He's like, go on, have a look. Oh, brilliant. Banshee play. I don't have to scan. I don't have to do anything. I walk in, I walk out. I see you've gone Banshee. And he's got a Raven. He's got a Viking. He's moving over to, you know, additional Marine production by the looks of it. He's got his command center down. Unfortunately, and unless MMA makes a mistake, these Banshees shouldn't get anything.
Yeah, I would say YoDa, save yourself the trouble. Just cancel a cloak and just do something else from here, because he's got his command center on the way. It's a little bit behind him.
He's got to commit to it, unfortunately. Yeah.
A little bit of a shame there for YoDa.
Yeah, MMA wisely and very smartly builds his second command center next to the first one. That he isn't too spread out thin, where he only needs to defend in a certain area. And
he's hunting it down.
Yeah, he's trying to catch this Banshee. Good control by YoDa and good focus, not to lose that too easily.
If he'd have lost that,
he can still lose it though. If MMA baits this Banshee too far in, he's actually going to chase it out.
Yeah, and that Raven can keep up. He is actually going to. It's so close because that Raven's vision will run out just barely. Oof, but he can still keep chasing. He can keep an eye on the blur.
Yeah,
and he will run out of energy.
It will. It's got a good 30 seconds left, though. It should be okay. He
wants it. He wants it.
He does.
Jeez.
Marines and Raven coming to help the
yeah, this should be okay in the end. Going too far, Viking.
Well done, MMA. Nice pullback. So then we just have Tank Marine. Raven's built up a lot of energy here. MMA could actually drop in a second.
Could he not go for a contain?
He can contain, he could drop, he can go outside of the rock area on the left-hand side here very easily.
Yeah.
Just set up his siege tank there.
I was going to say that you would have a Viking advantage, but it has to fly so far that it's not going to be too big a deal, because obviously there's still Viking production and reactor actually on that
that's the thing where
starport.
YoDa's actually going to do okay here because he does have so many Vikings where he can push this back. MMA doesn't really have a lot of Vikings.
Exactly.
So it shouldn't be too difficult. It shouldn't really hurt YoDa that much.
Yeah, so it should be okay. He's just going to claim his natural now, as is YoDa. So this is going to kind of balance out in the end. That Widow Mine at the back is also quite nice there for YoDa, taking precautions against, you know, if something were to come along, but at the moment, not going to be the case. Unless the Raven went around to try and drop down auto turrets.
I think that he can't siege and contain the natural, but he can still drop the main base, by the way.
Yeah.
Just to keep that in mind.
Where do you think there's room? Just at the very bottom of... Whoa, where is he going?
Here is fine as well. It eliminates the air wall, pretty much.
Using the auto turret wall again. We saw this against 4GG on this map, actually. And he's going to use that to draw some of the fire away. Brings the Marines as well.
Dying a little fast.
Yeah, actually, they took a lot of damage there. Likewise, though, his Marines are dying pretty quickly as well. The siege up. And he does force this back, thanks to the extra Banshee power behind all of that.
Thank God YoDa didn't die, everybody.
Yeah. He keeps himself alive. But for how much longer? Well, he's going into this mid-game. I would say okay.
Yeah, I mean, MMA, technically YoDa's in a lead. MMA invested a lot with that push out there compared to YoDa, who didn't. And now YoDa's on the bounce because YoDa didn't really lose anything. He still has a lot of those units left over, and he's actually going to seize the position where MMA was trying to siege before. And with the Viking lead that he has, this is actually going to work quite well for YoDa. And he could be looking for a way to actually win his first map here in this position.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity with 3 siege tanks against only 1.
MMA spots it now. He's trying to get his tank in position just in time. Oh, goodbye, MMA tank.
No, poor little guy. Well, you tried, but unfortunately you will be unsuccessful. You fall very fast.
Yeah, very good position here.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for MMA to really do a whole lot against that because he lost the 1 tank that he had to his name, and now he's at 3 tanks against 1 just about to finish.
MMA's definitely in trouble. For the first time in this entire series, MMA's in trouble.
Yeah, this natural being sieged up quite considerably. Very difficult to break out of this location, and one thing that really does hurt as well is the Banshee, to be honest with you. I mean, the Vikings can try and poke back and forth with that and try and push it away.
He's lost the air war. 2 Vikings, and this Raven is going to get picked off there.
That's a nice start with the Vikings in the end.
MMA is actually going to start to break out of this. Despite the supply lead being in favor of YoDa, MMA can break out of this very shortly, and he has that 3rd command center, which we talked about a little bit earlier, coming into play too.
Yeah, he understands the need to, and the moves that he needs to make to break out something like that, but YoDa is not letting up at all. He's bringing these drop down to the bottom left-hand corner, looking to find alternate routes through, as he has Stim.
I mean, he could actually kill every single SCV on that command center on that 3rd, by the way.
Yeah.
It depends on where MMA is with his units, of course. YoDa is pushed out, as expected here. MMA feeling the pressure a little bit here. He's a little bit supply blocked at 81 supply.
This is looking good for YoDa so far, looking to bring himself back into this series. Again, it's a long climb, but this is certainly just getting a bit of a foothold. MMA...
Stim is almost done here. +1 attack will be done for both, and a couple of tanks to support. How much damage will these 60 Marines get?
His army supply is huge in comparison. 68 against 37.
Yeah, I mean, YoDa's just going for a crazy 2 base, 5 barracks, lots of pushes, lots of Doom drop style.
Yeah.
He sees the command center, by the way, and he's going to unload first to get maximum damage output from these Marines and then go in.
And sieges up again on the perimeter just so that he can really draw his opponent's attention away, because as he fires with those siege tanks, the Marines go in and gut that line very, very fast. He's actually going to focus down the command center as well, but the siege tanks are doing considerable work, and he even just brings down a ton of Marines.
And with the style that YoDa's playing, it's 2 base forever. You know, it's like when you play this style, you might as well have a tattoo that says that, because you will be just over and over and over dropping units. And right now he has MMA in this really good position. MMA's hurt, he's supply blocked again. MMA's making mistakes now for the first time in this series. YoDa's fighting back. YoDa's bringing a lot of units over. I wonder if he has, well, 87 army supply to 54. He may just have enough to roll over MMA, who is trying to guard 2 bases at once, being very spread out to defend his natural and 3rd. MMA is without combat shield for the next 30 seconds as well, which does play a massive part of this fight. YoDa weighs up this army, and to be honest, I think he can do this.
Yeah, he sees it as his opportunity to deal the lethal blow, really. I mean, there's a Sense Tower on the way, trying to keep an eye on what's going on, but in the end, I mean, it's not really going to matter too much, because this army is huge. He stims, he goes straight on in. This is a big, big concave that he has here. Brings down 1 siege tank to the south very, very quickly, and he's just going to absolutely rip this apart. He has so much firepower in this bio.
YoDa fights back. YoDa fights back.
YoDa takes it to the front, to the natural. That bunker is going to fall. So much power behind behind this army for YoDa, and MMA is dealt the first blow to him in this series.
Yes, he is. Good game's gonna be called. YoDa gets a map. He stops the landslide from happening, and is gonna calm his nerves a lot with that. And as you can see, Coach Real going over there, saying, well done. That's exactly what I was told it should do. It's all me.
Takes all the credit. Not quite. But anyway, it's now given YoDa a little bit of a lifeline overall. But still, MMA has room here. Let's look back at how that game played out. And to be fair, MMA looking for, you know, a lot of damage at the natural. Didn't have to go for something like that. Didn't have to sacrifice a lot of his army there, but tried. You know, that was his, you know, a little bit of a risk involved there. Didn't work out. He still has a few games in hand.
Now a couple of words of advice going over to MMA's side. He's like, be careful. There's no need to commit to these type of attacks too early on. If you're not certain what your opponent's going on, or something like that could be said here. But I would imagine the more important part is, come on, man, you're still 3-1. It's still just one game. Don't let that phase you. You're still the better player. You're still the champion. It's probably the words that were said, something along those lines. No one knew. But, I guess we'll see. Hopefully come back now from YoDa. Hopefully get a map to his name and then take it to 3-2. Then play for the draw.
And Foxtrot Labs will be our next map between these two, because it is a best of 7. We get to see every map technically if it goes all the way, which is quite nice, because some maps we hardly ever get to see too much. Foxtrot Labs isn't as common as it is compared to its counterparts in the current map pool, but we get to see it in a TvT here, and there is certainly room for MMA to still push forwards and get a 4-1 victory, because he looked good in those first 3 games.
Yep.
He gave YoDa a little bit of an opportunity to get back there.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're about to load into this next one, but YoDa has selected random, so we're going to have to remake that, so we do have a couple more minutes as well.
Unless he gets Terran, I guess.
Unless he gets Terran, that would be funny.
Ooh, all right.
And he did as well.
He did, wow!
That's funny.
All right, game 5, random versus MMA.
That is funny.
That's so useful. Thank you very much, gods of RNG.
That is funny.
Let's get into things. He's none the wiser. That's the best thing about it.
He's like, did you get Terran?
I hope that's you.
He's probably like, he's probably asking why. Why are you asking me? And then everyone's like, you pick random. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it says.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, to the intros. Up to the top left-hand corner, it's our blue Terran representing TCM. It is YoDa.
That's funny.
I can't say I've ever seen that happen before.
No, that's actually the first time I've ever seen that happen, and probably the first time it has ever happened in, you know, a professional game like this.
And down to the bottom right-hand corner, it's our red Terran, 1 game away from the WCS Europe Championship. It is MMA.
That is so funny.
That's tickled you, man.
It has. I mean, loaded into random and then gets Terran anyway.
That was very useful, as I say. Don't have to regame.
So the builds here, we do have a gas first again by YoDa. He's going to play his cards again, to very similar to how he played before. Maybe go Banshee again, whereas MMA has opened up for more of a traditional opener once again here with the Reaper opening. And we saw this play out on Nimbus earlier, these two builds against each other. We will see it again. But I'm glad that YoDa, you know, put the brakes on. I'm very happy that he was able to take 1 game there to start to turn this around. And it would have been a little bit disappointing, especially the couple of finals that we've seen recently in StarCraft have not been the most amazing, so it would have been nice to have an epic one here, and hopefully we still can.
Yeah, there's still room for it. If YoDa can keep pulling this back and, you know, this being force cross positions as a map with, in essence, 2 different maps in one, they know where each other have spawned, despite it being a 4-player map, just in case you're a little bit newer to these maps in StarCraft. But in the end, it gives YoDa a good opportunity to be far away from his opponent and bring out something in a similar vein to what we saw in Deadwing, but obviously it's not as big.
I do like this map for mech, by the way. I think this is a pretty decent mech map. So we could definitely see that come out to play.
Is it because of the way in which it's created in the middle, all the chokes and things like that? Or?
Yeah, it's nice to be able to siege up in the high ground positions and take good spots. There's a lot of good positions. That's the spot I took against Funker, by the way. And I did take his third away from him, so that's how I know it's good against good mech.
But then what was the end result of?
That doesn't matter. I think I won it actually.
Did you? Oh, okay then.
It's the guy with the voice who has the. Yeah, me and Funker did play a Terran versus Terran on this map. So we'll see how this is going to play out. He jumps in and sees 3 Marines already, and is going to try to get around another way in. He's going to see the factory there, so he does know that he's playing against gas first. And the command center defensively on the high ground here from MMA. And he's going to have to start to prepare some defense here. Of course, YoDa, knowing that this is Reaper, knows it's probably just an expansion behind it too.
Yeah, so even though he's been reluctant to really send out a proper scout, he knows what's going on. MMA preparing himself a bunker pretty darn fast at the beginning of this, just making sure that nothing's really going to get done.
Yeah, if there was like a Hellion Marine movement out here, you want the bunker to stop any of that, and also you can put all your concentration inside the main base. A couple of Marines in there, you're pretty much safe. If he goes wild and tries to run by, usually they don't do that. So you can focus heavily on defending your main base, so that's why he's done that.
And he even has spotting at the front here with the Reaper that didn't really do massive amounts over there other than spot that factory, get confirmation of the build. And if he tries to go back in again, Marines are well positioned to deny, and he is that supply depot to spot up top as well.
Yeah, engineering bay, nicely timed here. Should be good for turrets to come in.
Yep. You're going to go a little Reaper.
Yeah, he kind of wants to see a Banshee, just to be sure. And also, more importantly, see the expansion and also technically the add-ons. Sees the expansion and add-ons, so...
Oh, he could get out. He could get out. Well, the Hellion will chase him down. So,
So, Banshee Hellion, it looks like at the moment. It could switch up to Marines in a second. Cloak was cancelled just this second, as he's expecting the MMA to be ready for this, which MMA should be building turrets for.
We don't mind there as well. Please put it behind the gas geyser because it's so hard to spot.
MMA is defending with turrets, but going to drop with the Widow Mine and the Marines.
Yeah, true.
So he's going to pick up everything and go for a counter drop, which could work out marvelous here.
How many units does he have back at home? So only the 4 Marines and 1 Hellion. But if the Widow Mine gets a good detonation,
position,
yeah, exactly.
This is a nice counter move from MMA.
Little poke forwards here for the Banshee, but doesn't really get too much done. Missile turret does zone that out.
But there's also a Widow Mine that just popped out for YoDa and a Raven. So I think YoDa, if he stays where he is, he's fine.
Yeah, his time is diminishing
and
here
he does
with
get
this
a bit
drop.
of, oh, this is really nice. I think he's expecting this counter move.
Yeah.
Like you said, these guys have played against each other a lot. MMA's going to try this anyway. It shouldn't work.
Yeah.
This is definitely, they've played against each other. YoDa knows that MMA likes this as a follow-up, and it's dealt with very easily. Very smart, very easy defense there from YoDa. No casualties taken. And this is a 3 command center build, by the way, from YoDa.
Nice.
So
wait, did he spot that?
MMA did not know.
Ah, okay. A little bit of a shame there for him, but in the end, for now, at least neither player has really taken too much damage going through all of this. MMA is actually setting himself up with siege tanks, adding on some extra production as well, so he's going to have a lot of production here very soon.
Yeah, MMA's motive in this game will change if he sees that command center for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a lot of greed coming out from YoDa, which could be capitalized on.
And he does have his units still at the front here, looking to at least contain, in essence, anything that would like to move out. And actually he's going to poke forwards to see that this natural has been taken at this particular moment in time. Boosts on out of there. And the Widow Mine, technically if the Raven moves out with everything, that shouldn't really do much. He does technically see that. Sends 1 Marine forwards. No.
MMA still not really gotten any more information in this game. YoDa doesn't need information because he's the player that's taking the risk by going these 3 command centers and just kind of needs not to die. There's a massive airspace at the back of your main base here, which is difficult to deal with against drops. You can come in from a lot of angles here. So it is very annoying to play against if MMA knew and could exploit that. Obviously does not at the moment. So the Viking patrol is important for the north side of here, and also vision, which you see both players focusing on. YoDa's got a blue dot to the north, likewise MMA's got a red one down south. This is just to kind of scout and see anything from coming and destroying that beautiful mineral line of yours inside the main base.
Viking on patrol to deny anything going on as well.
MMA set up 5 barracks, starport, and factory here. So he's playing like YoDa did in the previous game. So the way that this now shapes up to play is that YoDa just got to sit tight and not take losses, and he'll find himself in a better position the longer the game goes on. But MMA has got to make some stuff work here. No third command center. Obviously will not be further in upgrades past 1-1.
And MMA, I mean, if he does lose this map, he doesn't want to be losing traction on the series. I mean, losing 2 games after having a nice 3-0 lead must sting just a little bit. Of course, he still would have a cushion, but the scan got dropped. He saw a few of those siege tanks at the front, and he still has these units poised.
It's about doom drops, really.
Yeah.
MMA is going to try to doom drop with this style, obviously. If you're playing on 2-base holding, you can't just walk through the middle and try to deal damage. But YoDa's already ready for that. Here comes the doom drop. But it can't go to the main, so it's going to have to go... I don't know. There's no really way for it to go, unfortunately. There's 2 Vikings, a Raven, and turrets. I mean, maybe that left flank is vulnerable, but the Marines are so close to the stim over there.
I kind of see what Funk is saying, though, because if you do get the middle ground between everything, if you cut off the locations of production from the main army,
I didn't see that. If you can get the ramp, but it is risky. YoDa's got stim, he's very close. MMA messes this up, he loses everything, by the way.
Siege tank on the low ground, maybe, to support. It's very difficult.
Gosh.
Do you really risk it? Do you risk it? I mean, he has to do something. I mean, his third command center's so low.
MMA sees that the rocks are being broken, and that YoDa's more than likely going to try to move down here to kind of take this position, so he's going to wait and move as YoDa goes down. He scans, he looks. He's confident he can do it. He thinks he can do it.
He's going to go straight there. He's going straight to the ramp, trying to drop in this location, focusing all of his attention here.
The Marines filtered on the ramp. They can't attack up there.
A lot of splash damage, a lot of splash damage. A lot of damage is actually done to them here, but one of the siege tanks does end up falling. Vikings as well as the Banshee helping out, and YoDa's able to clean it up.
Too much there. He had the Raven and the turrets at the back.
It's not enough.
Marines popping out.
It's not enough. He pushes this away. He claims his third base so easily he loses medevacs. This is a catastrophe for MMA.
This did not work here. He's got a couple of SCVs down here, 4 or 5 SCVs. YoDa didn't attack up the ramp. He's surrounded perfectly. He was patient. He took the fight wisely, and he just destroyed everything that MMA's got. And this gives YoDa a nice position to be in.
MMA doesn't want to be stumbling here, does not want to be stumbling at all, because at the moment, YoDa has every advantage in this game. Yeah, he lost a few SCVs there, but who really cares? I mean, he had that third base, well, was about to go and claim it, but he's feeling a little bit apprehensive now because of this extra move out.
More tanks here in the middle. This is a little bit weird. Neither of them know they're there. YoDa spots it. YoDa knows. YoDa knows he's there.
He's going to cut off the reinforcements.
Cuts off the reinforcements. He knows where the army is. He scans, he moves back. He's going to come for it. There are 2 tanks around that command center to help protect that ramp.
Those Marines stimmed up a little bit early because they thought a third command center was still there, but it wasn't. So had to pull on back, and you can't go up that ramp, MMA.
YoDa's got such a good position right now. He's got it as the siege tanks on siege.
Oh, brilliant move here by YoDa to try and claim the second game, but at the same time, that's a lot of Marines are actually filtering through here for MMA, but it's just so much firepower from the siege tanks at the back for YoDa to crush away this army, push it back, and keep himself alive.
MMA's letting these finals slip away for him right now. YoDa won the last one, and he's looking to win this one as well. He knows he's got a massive army advantage. He's coming over to the other side of the map, and if MMA does not have the right defense, he will lose this map. He's got a minimal amount of siege tanks. He's got a lot of Marines around, but as we can see, YoDa has not lost any of his tanks. He's still got like 7 around here.
Yeah, same Marine
He doesn't even really need a siege up. He can just move in.
He just has the more powerful army. He could happily just do whatever he wants at this point. Sieges up, looks to push this away again. He's going to get the better trades in the end. It's a concave. Actually, wasn't too bad there for MMA, considering the position of it all, but he still has so many tanks alive.
There's 2 tanks left there for MMA, and that is it right now. The siege tank's on siege. What is going to happen now? Is YoDa going to pick up and drop inside the main? He scans, he sees the third. MMA is obviously very defensive around the third, and YoDa is going to go to the main, surely, here.
Yeah, he has a good opportunity to.
Surely,
Plenty of
I mean, they're so weak inside that main base. You pick everything up. This is a beautiful going to be move.
Yeah, it's constantly just keeping the pressure on.
This is going to be so difficult to stop the engineering base, the production, the command center, the SCVs.
He's putting him in checkmate very, very soon.
And MMA's protecting his third, and naturally doesn't know where he is.
Not at all. Just scanning the main.
He reveals it. Now MMA's got to get there, but he won't be there in time.
That's too much firepower here from the army of YoDa, looking to put the finishing touches on this game, bringing himself to 3-2 very soon. The Marines are scrambling for MMA, looking for an opportunity to try and get towards this army, but there is none. There is no opportunity. There's so many siege tanks here shelling away at this position that this is do or die for MMA.
Yeah, it's do or die. He loses 14 SCVs in the defense. Can he break it?
And he might be able to, but he just doesn't have enough Marines in the end. The 2 siege tanks at the back still power on through. MMA has very little left to his name. Even the Marines on the natural lane waits to that. GG. YoDa takes a second map. keeping his hopes alive here in the grand final.
YoDa's making it happen here. 2 games in a row. The comeback is on. One more game, and it's actually tied up here. So wonderful turnaround from YoDa. We didn't think we'd see this, but he's made it work. And it looked like we were going to see a 4-0 from MMA, and now the pressure's on MMA. Lost 2 games in a row now. And that was a good set of performances from YoDa. 2 games in a row. And he's not crumbling to the pressure. And this is about to turn into a good finals.
Inu now has to settle the nerves down of MMA. I mean, obviously, he probably doesn't have too many nerves. He has been in this position a lot. He's been in finals. He is a champion of the past, but losing those 2 games, YoDa's taken the wind out of MMA sails overall, and it's actually brilliant to see that YoDa has been able to battle back, because it could have been so easy to just completely stumble yourself as YoDa, 3 games down, and just lose it there and then. But fighting back, it's really nice to see. Really nice to see.
And I mean, there's a couple of ways to look at it now. Is MMA starting to feel the pressure? Is he being too aggressive in these games? Is he, are these movements he's doing, the previous map to this, he moved out, tried that attack, didn't work, died or started to die to a counter. Here again, moved in, throws units at YoDa and started to lose it again and found himself in a bad position. So if you go to the source of the problem, it seems to be MMA's movements out, right? So
yeah.
He's got to be definitely careful about that coming into the rest of these games here, as YoDa is capitalizing on these mistakes or of this aggressive tendency from MMA. The next map is going to be Overgrowth. I do like this map. Very tense 2-player map coming for both of these. And if YoDa does it, he's looking focused. If you think about what he was looking like before, with his head in his hands, biting his nails, and now he's ready to go. He's ready to turn this around.
All right, let's get into it then. Game number 6. YoDa slowly bringing back this title, potentially against MMA, as we get onto Overgrowth. Down to the bottom left-hand corner, it's our blue Terran representing TCM. It is YoDa. And up to the top right, we have our red Terran. He was doing so well at the beginning of this series. Now, not so much.
Yep.
Can he continue on with a stronger performance here on Overgrowth, representing Acer? It is MMA.
And for YoDa, this is pretty much the last big tournament for the entire year for him. He isn't qualified to play at DreamHack Winter. He's not going to BlizzCon, the 2 big tournaments coming up. Obviously, the qualification period hasn't started for the next Intel Extreme Masters. So right now, at this moment, this is his. Like, this is it. This is what you've been playing for. This is what every player wants to have. And this is the biggest StarCraft tournament he's got. Right now, in the grand finals, after a long road to get here for YoDa. You think about Season 2 last season, got to the round of 16 and got eliminated by MC. It was his first time in the Premier League. It was his first time in Cologne. Now he's in the grand finals a season later.
Yeah.
And MMA is all about the win here, all about the motivation, the confidence to go towards BlizzCon with a win. And we do see a gas first build from MMA, whereas we see a Reaper opening from YoDa.
And if you think about YoDa's road as well as a player, the only time he's ever won a tournament was, I believe, in the grand finals against one of his mentors, in essence, right? Against MVP, the World Championship. And that was the only time he's ever won a Premier. And now, staring down the opportunity to take another one off another great Terran, MMA.
That's right. But YoDa's got a lot of information from that SCV. Goes in the eyes of YoDa through that SCV, sees this gas first build, and now can start to prepare his game plan. He's going to expand on the low ground, not going to play too safe here, as we have seen MMA, who did open up Reaper before and throw the command center in the main. And then he's going to start to prepare the necessary defense against the follow-up, but the follow-up, obviously unclear, is going to be trying to be figured out here by this Reaper. Starport down on that Tech Lab nice and early. And that Reaper has freedom to go in there if he decides. There's only a single Marine, nice and easy, but he is just sitting in the middle.
Chilling out, doing a little dance. It's okay. Yeah. I wonder what MMA is going to actually bring here, because overall, again, taking the wind out of the sails, as I mentioned before, it's got to weigh a little bit heavily on MMA's mind.
I mean, it's really funny because every game for the last MMA's just one game away from winning, one game away from winning, and he still is on this map. Could be the champion. That's like the thing that's starting to escape our minds as we're focusing so heavily on YoDa. Is MMA can be the champion still on this map on Overgrowth and claim his second title.
But at the same time, YoDa's already shown some resilience. He's already shown a lot of resilience. He's going to go for Cloak Banshees here to start things off against YoDa's opener, which in terms of the starport, it's a little bit slower, so it's going to be a bit harder to really negate the
MMA's build.
Banshee.
It's
oh, is he getting it? Oh,
it's double Tetlar builds. Excuse me. You don't really see this too often. It's going to be Banshee pressure. You must not lose the Banshees because they are going to be your air control, and then into a tank follow-up and a tank push here. The two key things for YoDa to do: kill the Banshee, get tanks out.
Yes.
But right now he is building, by the looks of it, to very similar to how MMA played previously. He's got Marines and Widow Mines. He's probably going to get a Medivac and try to drop this.
I mean,
so we'll see.
We already saw a build like this used against MMA by 4GG back on Catalina in the previous series, and it can be brutal. It is
deadly.
Yes,
it is deadly.
It's very scary to deal with unless you're fully aware of what's going on.
3 turrets for the Banshee defense, Viking and Marines, but no tanks. Maybe this is the weakness. Maybe this is the hole that MMA's picked up on.
Tanks already moving out into the middle.
That YoDa focuses very heavily on units that are not very good against these tank pushes. There is the tech lab onto the factory where tanks can be made. This Banshee must not be lost.
No, it must not. He has the vision between these two missile turrets to actually give him.
He's willing to take a couple of hits to wear down these Marines. He pokes in the main. He may be caught here. He's going to lose the Banshee. Good news for YoDa. Good news for YoDa.
Yeah. Because now, I mean, what does he have in the air? He has one Banshee on the way, but it's quite far away.
And now YoDa's about to spot what's going on here. The Widowmine will die, but he knows what's going on. And he's actually not building tanks here. He actually switched over to a Banshee of his own.
Actually, that could be all right if he actually brings down the Marines, but at the same time, he needs to bring those down first, and he loses a lot of his Marines himself. That one siege tank is...
YoDa needs a tank, man. I can't believe he tried to go for this Banshee. He didn't really know the follow-up, and MMA's going to break this natural. And despite losing that first Banshee, this is turning around in MMA. Maybe at against championship here. But just because that tank wasn't made and now the tank is sieged on the ramp, this is so bad news. It started decent, but without the knowledge of what's going on.
The army supply very much in favor of MMA. Second siege tank on the way as well. The Marines laying waste to this position, and they walk up the ramp. This is desperate here for YoDa, because right now he's on top of his production facilities.
The turret, that's going to give that the detection for the Banshee. Then, of course, the cloak going down on the starport.
This is spiraling way out of control. There's one siege tank out. This one siege tank has to do so much work, but there's so much here for MMA. He's on top of the siege tank. He's going to bring that down as well. GG! MMA is able to do it. 4-2 in the end. He makes the final. He makes the championship. 2-time WCS Europe champion. What a way to end it.
He claims his second tournament victory this year, his second WCS title, and his second tournament victory in just about a month. He won DreamHack Moscow the end of last month, or in the middle of it, and now he's been able to pick up this title. Unfortunate from YoDa, attempted the comeback, it was brilliant, but not quite able to do that versus MMA. And it is MMA, the champion. So, congratulations to MMA, unfortunate there for YoDa. And in a couple of seconds, we will be joined by Todd and, of course, the Muslim to have a quick talk about that. But absolutely brilliant finals there from MMA. Clear cut, awesome stuff. Sounds like a lot of microphone movement there. I think we were going to have these boys ready for us in a second.
Yeah, I think so.
Todd, are you with us? Hello, Todd.
I'm with you.
Hello, Todd. Welcome
hey,
to
Todd.
the desk. Hello to Muslim. Welcome to the desk.
Hello.
I feel like I've got a stick up my backside because I'm turning around like this a lot. Finals, what did you think about that then, Todd?
Interesting. I was afraid it was going to be a 4-0, but somehow YoDa woke up and brought it back for some time. And then I thought, oh my God, is it going to be the epic comeback? And then MMA said, no, it's not going to be the epic comeback. I'm just going to one-base you and finish it. So, pretty good games.
The crowd is getting ready for MMA and YoDa in the prize ceremony. Muslim, quick thoughts here before we do go over to that. What do you think of MMA's performances here on the final? Warrant a top-tier class Terran player, obviously.
Absolutely fantastic play, like by both of them actually. The first game especially, he looked like he was on the ropes. He had YoDa outside, kind of containing him with mech, Ravens, Vikings turrets. And he was really handling MMA, but MMA's fortitude going 3-0 from that point on, really, really solid by him. And pulled out a really, really cool aggressive build in the late game and or the last game of the series and played awesome. Yeah, I love MMA.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic campaign ready for BlizzCon, right? 2 tournaments in a month. You think he can do well at BlizzCon here as we send MMA off ready for that?
I think you said it pretty well with his performance here. He's definitely one of the contenders to possibly win the whole thing, or at least do very well in BlizzCon. After the games that we've seen here out of him, I wouldn't be surprised if he did well there.
Yeah,
he's looking good
as well.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, final questions, and thank you very much for the commentary this weekend, all of us. We did a great team. I feel like I should rub each other's back, as you did fantastic. You were amazing, mate. And you did a great job over there as well, Todd.
I'll pat you. It's okay.
What was the best thing from this weekend for you? Something to highlight before we hand it over? They're almost ready for us, so quick thoughts here.
I really liked the fact that YoDa did so well. He's been so nervous. We're finally seeing the resurgence of a great, great player. I guess seeing MC fall out was pretty cool too.
All right, and last thoughts here, Todd, before we hand it over?
It wasn't cool.
All right, you like the Terran vs. Terran final, right?
Yeah, I liked it, but I think the players' progress and hard practice really showing in these games was my highlight, I think, of this tournament.
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me up here for one final time, and it's now time for the prize ceremony.
Thank you very much, gents. Our thanks also, a big round of applause, please, for Funker, the Observer. And also our fantastic commentary team. All 4 people done a fantastic job all season long. Kalaris, Apollo, the Muslim, and Todd as well. It's been a fantastic season from all 4 of you, and our Observer Funker as well. I have 2 more people that have joined me here to make the presentations. Mr. Mark Alberts is here, the Senior Product Manager for Blizzard, and of course the Product Manager for WCS Europe, David Kugelman. Ladies and gentlemen, they're going to help us present the checks and the trophy. Okay. Our runner-up for the WCS Europe Season 3 2014 Premier League is a man who has played fantastically well since the round of 16, has a record of 10-0. Came into the grand final on the crest of a wave. It wasn't quite enough, though, but he has had a phenomenal season. The runner-up for WCS Season 3, TCM YoDa. And he's got plenty of spending money there. $15,000 goes the way of the TCM player after a fantastic season. Our champion and a returning champion. He was the champion in Season 3 in 2013. He's since made another final in WCS Europe in 2014. He is the first ever WCS Europe double champion. From Team Acer, MMA! MMA, just one quick thing. In English, one thing for your fans.
여기 경기하면서 계속 막 MMA 응원해주는 소리가 함성 소리가 들렸거든. 계속 경기하면서도 목 아프실 텐데 너무너무 감사드린다고.
he's really, really thankful to the fans who are like always shouting MMA, MMA. You could actually hear that while he was playing, and it was but he's really, really thankful for all the fans cheering him.
Okay, that is it. We have had an absolute blast here in 2014. It's been a real pleasure and a joy for all of us here at ESL and at WCS to bring you all of the coverage from WCS Europe through seasons 1 to 3 in 2014. But all things must come to an end. And it is the end of 2014 for us here in Europe. But don't forget, next weekend, WCS America finishes off, and then it's the big one. Ladies and gents, BlizzCon is a little way away, but it's only a little time away. For now, though, we're going to enjoy some party celebrations with MMA, your WCS Europe champion.